Yo, you know what's interesting? Aspersions through ethnicity, other than that, through religion, through friendships, through beliefs, through political affiliation, gets people in trouble. There's certain words in the English dictionary that really scare a lot of people. One of them is ego. When you think about it, most of the times that ego happens when somebody is on top of things. And ego makes you believe that you're on top of everybody else, and you look down at others. So when you used to hear that meme saying I feel Beyonce-ish, people didn't understand what it means until Kanye highlighted what he did with Taylor Swift. And now let's go to another interesting word called eccentric. Not average movements, not average ways of thinking. Very abnormal and out of context, and most of the time out of being. And when it has people like that moving, so much so that most people don't understand them, it have many of those that actually have positions of power within the world, not just Trinidad and Tobago. Another interesting word, very, very interesting word, is schizophrenic. Having multiple people inside of one person. Some people don't believe it, some people believe it. And that is something that happens to a lot of people. Yo, brother. And to have something called manifestation. The reason I'm highlighting these words is because the past few weeks in Trinidad and Tobago, many things happened. Yo, dude, the man fix it, boy. The man fix it. 6,500 for the from Petit Valley. 4 hours. Yo, man, good. So within that, what is going on right now is that, to me, what going on is that some people having a misconception of these words put together within people in our own well-being who's supposed to be taking care of us. Now look at what I have on. And if you walk into certain places, what you will believe may be a misconception. Now my religion is something that I'm not following to many others, but everybody know I observe a certain faith. Understand my wording? So we have plenty out there that appreciate. So why are you using these words? Because I found out something interesting about one of our content creators. And it's interesting. So let me open the minds of certain people. There's a guy in the Bible that when he saw who the Israelites were giving praise to was 3 gods that were pagan gods. Of course, that was Malek, that was Baal, and Asherah. And the person who changed everything, that transpired. Yo, you good? Good to see you, bro. The person who changed everything was Jeremiah. When he mashed up the pulpit of Malek. Furthermore, Josiah was the son of somebody. And people need to understand that have things that happened 3,300 years now. And people need to understand we could change situations that we in right now. The power of strength in numbers is something people not observing. Would you rather be a Israelite, a Hishite, or a Sodomite? So there was somebody who came at me recently here, but this is the same person who is stealing from in a store, and we have footage of it. and promotes hate. So once again, we go into the appreciate level of individuals. The type of knowledge that I have, I don't brag. So that's why we're going back to the starting of this video. There's a famous word that a lot of people in history do ever think about. It's called plagiarism. I am a big supporter of Nissan, the brand. Trinidad and Tobago, did you realize there was one guy who was always using that brand to embarrass people for a long time? No. There were many people that I acknowledged in this video for the past few minutes while I was making it. And I could tell you straight up, I was in a room a few years ago with 5 million. You don't hear me bragging about it. So that knocks off two things I was talking about in the start. I'm talking about your ego, and I'm talking about imitation human beings. And furthermore, I'm going to knock on to the next word, which is schizophrenic. So you call yourself a certain type of individual, but words have power, just like manifestation. And with that being said, if you're constantly rambling, you want somebody to take you serious. But if you watch that somebody's style for 2 years and then change your name because you was getting criticism, it shows something. You started following a man's style and he never taught you. But I play chess while you play checkers. Plagiarism is a hell of a thing when you're really just an egotistical, schizophrenic human. So understand, I don't ramble. I speak facts and I'm very spiritual. You know why I stopped? Because there's an interesting weapon in the history of the world called a Kalashnikov, and the number is 47. Understand where I'm coming from and don't play dumb, especially when people know your address and who your friends are, because the Bible is an old book, but nothing new is underneath the right. Now let's get to moving again. So things happened in the past few days. That guy who you all give respect to, definitely watch yourselves, because he's not who you think he is. So one of the individuals who hailed me just now is a very popular person on YouTube internationally. I'm not even going and call his name, and he considers me his big brother. And trust me, many people know the history that I have with racing in Trinidad and Tobago. I just laugh when you guys can drive a Tita. So when you had a Charmant with a SR20 and a 6 forward, not a 5 forward, and they used to use a derogatory term with your name, first you was skill and you have no fear, that is me, who they was talking about 22 years ago. So when assholes from Digger Martin St. Lucian Road seem to be throwing words when you are just come fool, Suzukis are different to Prados, and high rev engines do reach certain places, certain luxury vehicles always do. So I like the LX470 for many reasons, but the Suzuki is a history in Trinidad and Tobago, whether being on the spot of murders or furthermore certain millionaires buying it and rather drive that rather than the expensive $700,000 vehicles. So now I'm going to buy some coconuts by coming back. So let's begin, because those youths are getting loud and I have to continue this part of the video. So you know what has happened also? Youths always observe these things that are happening around them and use that as blueprinted ideology. Hold on. A line 2 Toyotas passing. Youths always observe and learn things from blueprinted ideology. So if you teach them to be assholes, if you teach them to laugh at others when you have money, if you think it's good to teach youths those things, to change them into who you should be or who they should be because of you, you have some serious problems. Right now, everything that we're seeing in front of Trinidad and Tobago is just PR, as in public relations. But the real PR stands for peer resistance. And I want you to understand what I'm saying, because some infidels don't understand what knowledge is and the difference between impressionable human beings. We have youths coming up looking at us from the things that these people that call themselves leaders think is okay. Do you know it is to wake up in the morning? You have no milk, you have no sugar, you have bay leaf, you have flour, you have no gas, you have no water. But yet still, you have people going, listen to this, $1,600 US parties and promoting other government ministers and laughing at others. I have, with information given to me, that I've been called a monkey, I'm called a orangutan, Arita has been called a dog, a potter. What's interesting, I may be one of the only Caribbean people with a 180 passing mark in a certain exam. This monkey is very dumb. That's all I have to say. Furthermore, molecular research is an interesting thing, along with gene and stem cell research. Cancer affected me now 9 times in different ways. So you know who's the cancer of Trinidad and Tobago? For at least 15 years. I'm not even going to call names, you could put it in the comment section. You know what's interesting? There's something called an algorithm, and there's something called systematic racism. You don't see the connection, right? Do you know it is tribal, or to be a tribal individual, because the hatred that you have somebody seeing successful of another ethnicity affects your mental? Do you know why they call me wolf? Do you know it is to experience pain and learn from it like you swear you're opening a book? Some people don't understand. Some people really don't understand. You know it is to grow up with dogs as your best friend. Cartoons make you start reading more, and then you start losing family members because of a certain chronic illness, not spreading throughout the land, but seeming to hit your friends only, one by one. So in the past few days, there's not bragging, but saying this for an asshole named Dale, who likes to steal chocolates, who's very good friends with a certain fella called what's that? I don't even want to say his first name, so let's call him Khan, because he's a radioactive iguana. And then there's a racist drunk woman who shit down Alexa some years ago. When you pushing your economy into total depression, not just these people's feelings, it's psychological warfare. Because when you lie only so much, people tend to understand. If you're tricking your body into working out when you just had a family-sized pizza and then jump on the treadmill, what are you really working out or talking about? Things like that should hamper people's thoughts in what's going on in our nation. I don't live my life in fear. But you see, when they're trying to use intimidation on somebody who doesn't have that, as in fear, they don't get anywhere. So imagine in one close spectrum, you have a murderer, you have a rapist, you have a racist, and you have an insider trader, all in one box. While you're holding on to that cube, understand, just like that manual diesel vehicle that just passed, it has something missing in that engine compared to a fuel injected one, and most people realizing it, but they rather stay quiet. So I'll leave you with some interesting thoughts about somebody who's working in entertainment. There's a certain girl that likes to wear skimpy clothes and squeeze up her private parts and call herself Catwoman. Yo. So what's going on? Have you ever heard about somebody taking pictures of somebody cook food and calling it their own? That is one. Two, if you're a it girl, you have to do what the boss says, when he says, how he says, and with who he says it with. So when a certain girl put her foot down because her breasts are bigger than anything else, she has the nicest neighbor next door character traits, and because she doesn't want to do things, you victimize her. So as usual, Trinidad and Tobago. See you guys on the flip side. I love you guys. I mean it.